Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Frontline Network's Company of Heroes 2 World Championships. If you're only just joining us tonight, we have already casted both of the semi-finals games from our series. Marcus took on Aimstrong. Aimstrong won 2-0. Then Seph took on Symbiosis, and Seph won 2-0. And now we are in to the finals. It's 1-1 between Seph and Aimstrong, two incredible players. In fact, I dare say the two best Company of Heroes 2 players in the world are going at it right now. They have gone 1-1 so far, and with me to bring you the third game is Peter from Relic. How do you think the games have gone so far, Peter?
I think we've seen a strong leaning towards Soviets.
Strong leaning towards Soviets. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely seen two Soviet victories just now, and although Seph put up a pretty decent fight, he still didn't last very long, and Aimstrong, of course, he ended up going out pretty quickly in some insane 14-minute stomp. So, you know, it's definitely the Soviets' time in this tournament today. But we'll have to wait and see now, see what happens when Aimstrong, he is back into the driver's seat with the Germans. He knows what's coming his way now, so let's see how it turns out.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if Sepha actually just tried something completely different to throw him off, and it was effective. You know, he could potentially have that element of surprise.
Well, exactly. We can't take that away from him. It was damn effective. But will Aimstrong know how to counter it this time? That's the question that we've got to ask ourselves, and that's the question we're going to try and answer tonight. So we're at the 5-second mark. Let's be unpausing in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, Peter, what I've got to ask you now is, let's say you're in Aimstrong's shoes, you're playing the Germans, you know you're about to be abused to hell with nothing but scout cars. What do you do?
You know, I might try something a little bit crazy. I might try to actually use the S-mine field, lay a couple of those down, only laying one of the squares, and hoping that he'll trip those. Because one S-mine square should take out an M3, and it's 20 munitions each.
Okay, it should take it out. So you can just lay one of the squares and then cancel the build, and that'll just lay one for 20 munitions.
Yeah, basically the way it works is the S-mine will, if it gets canceled out, let's say there's a building in the way, it won't build that square. There's 4 squares per S-mine field. The Pioneer squad will pick the closest S-mine square and build that first. So you can actually pick which one you want to build and cancel it after the first one's built. And you'll just get that one square, you'll get 60 munitions refunded back to you, and it's a pretty good M3 counter.
Wow, I did not know that. So so German mines, you can still build them for cheap, like you could in Vico, essentially. You can still build those little 20 munitions mines, you just got to be a little bit careful how you do it.
Exactly. It's a little bit more micro, and they don't have the engine damage. So it's just going to be effective versus things like the M3, the M5, and other similar light vehicles, potentially the T70. Anything above the T70, they're going to start just setting those mines off, dealing no damage to that unit.
Well, that is a bit of info that all of you guys in the chat should note down. That is definitely news to me. So, and that's something I hope that we see a lot more German players do, because that's one of the big complaints of the German players right now, generally, is that, you know, we don't have these mines to block off the flanks and the armored and the M3s, but now you have a way. You can, in fact, lay mines. So let's see what Aimstrong does. We've got fighting all over the map here. Aimstrong taking the church as his strong point. Seph just stalling out in buildings here, stalling out in green cover. And in fact, very little has actually been capped so far. We're already a couple of minutes into the game, and yet both players have only capped just a couple of points outside their base, although it is Seph who currently holds the fuel up in the north.
I kind of feel like maybe I should lay low on the tips. You know, part of it, we want the community to explore these things themselves, learn them, right? Because these are the secrets of the game. But I don't know. Maybe we'll go another route. Maybe we'll actually start disclosing a little bit more. So let's look at the builds.
You know, everything that you disclose is like gold for all these players. So
okay, look at Sepha. Sepha's going for his bread and butter. 2 engineers. He's gonna build the 2 M3 A1s, and he's gonna just push on Aimstrong just like he did in the first game.
Those M3s, he knows what he wants, he's going to get them, and, you know, Aimstrong, he is still doing a very similar build to what he did last time. He's gone for a triple Grand, in fact, and a single MG. So maybe he'll switch it up, maybe he'll stick with the 4 Grenadiers. I mean, it kind of worked for him against Marcus. That's what he's probably going into this game thinking. And this is the map where he beat Marcus. Of course, you will notice, we didn't mention it, but you'll notice, we have switched back to Kolodny Winter. Game 1 and 2 were played on the spring version of Kolodny, and game 3 and 4 will be played on the winter version, and if it goes to a game 5, that will be back on the summer version again for the rubber match.
You know what's interesting with this map is that there's actually one less hybrid point, and there's only 1 munitions point. So I wonder how that actually plays out from an economy perspective. Sepha's not going to have as much munitions as he did on the summer version and spring version of Coliforma.
True, so there'll be less flamers, I guess, but then on the other hand, maybe there'll be less Fausts as well to use for Aimstrong, particularly as Aimstrong has not actually been able to cap this munitions. He's only just now getting it for the first time this game.
That's why if you're going against M3A1, you have to use those Fausts in a very reserved manner. Use them when you know you can take the M3 out. Don't just Faust because you have that opportunity.
Oh, look at this. Aimstrong is changing things up. He is not going for his super massive tier 1. He has gone for 3 Grens, 1 MG, and instantly he is straight into tier 2. And he has retreated a Pioneer. He's going to start building that tier 2 building right away. So he is right on top of that counter this time. He is going to go for that armored car.
Yeah, if I was Aimstrong right now, I would be pushing for that first car because I know once Sepha gets the second car, it's going to be a heck of a lot harder to counter it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. That's the general trend you see in these games. If the M3 comes out and it dies before the second M3 joins it, then generally the German player has a much easier time. But if the Soviet player can get out 2 M3s and apply pressure with the first until the second one arrives, then you're in for a world of pain.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to.
There we go, we got a couple of Grenadiers being used very aggressively down here in the south. Seph tried to backpedal away with these conscripts, but he is going to be forced to retreat. Aimstrong, now he's into the expansion phase of his game, sending out those Grenadiers, splitting them up. I don't know how wise a decision that is. He is going to be forced to retreat this MG up here in the north, because now the first clown car is on the field, joined very rapidly by the second. 2 M3s now are on the field in very, very quick succession, but the armored car is almost here. It's almost here, and Aimstrong has saved all his munitions. He's not sent a single Faust yet, he's not laid a single mine, or upgraded to a single LMG, so he has the munitions to upgrade that scout car straight away.
Oh no, here goes Faust.
Ah,
so
okay.
Was he able to take that out? No, wasted Faust. Just before that, if you know you're going against M3A1, never separate your MG from your Grenadier. Big mistake. You'll end up paying for it.
Well, here is the scout car, unupgunned. He could have gotten the upgun, and he could have had it by now. Instead, he chose to Faust it, and he might pay for that, as you said. You know, he got off that wasted Faust. But on the other hand, you know, maybe that's
look at that crit right there.
Oh wow, that was nasty. That's a lost flamer. That's gonna really help actually Aimstrong to keep himself in the game.
If Aimstrong was smart right now, he'd be pushing with that 222 because that 222 main gun can beat the M3 hands down, especially if you're hitting the back.
He's almost there, just a little bit more, just a tickle more, and it does go down. M3 is down. The scout car reigns supreme. He can now afford the upgun. The question is, will he now do it? Because he's taken one down. Will he decide to go for one? He actually pops off another Faust. He does lose his Pioneer, though. That's a small loss there. Yeah,
that's a pretty bad loss right there because you just can't tech fast now. You can't build your next building right away. All right, let's see if he goes. If he goes after that next M3, that could be.
Ooh, he is hit with an 18A very rapidly by Sepha. Luckily he is still quite close to his base, but no Pioneer, so he's gonna have to rebuild that Pioneer.
That's a shame. He could have finished off with 222 potentially.
So he's using a lot of these Fausts. I don't know. What do you think? Would you rather hold off on the Faust and get the upgun, or would you keep on trying to Faust it for the veterancy?
Well, here's the thing. As Germans, you want to be careful. If you're using a lot of your one-off abilities, they're not meant to be cost-effective. They're meant to be punishing for the player. They're meant to be emergency only. And you're ultimately not doing what you need to do as Germans. Germans need to bank their munitions into permanent upgrades because that's where their true power is. And if you keep using those Fausts, you're hurting yourself in the long run. 251 flamethrower upgrade, LMG 42, G43s, or even Panzerschrecks. That's where you want to be putting your money.
Sound tactical advice, and it still holds true from Vico, you know, and it slightly puzzles me why Aimstrong is choosing to go so heavy on the Panzerfaust, because if this was a Vico game, you would see maybe 1 or 2 Panzerfausts used in the opening game against Jeeps, but besides that, you would then invest in Shreks if you were facing that much heavy vehicles. You wouldn't bother with the Faust anymore.
And you know, the thing that makes this first building so tough, let's say he does go and invest in Shreks. What are you going to do? You're going to build snipers. High rate of return, you got 90 XP per shot. I mean, that's the way to go. It's such a hard building to beat, and you really got to exploit the fact that they're not going to have a lot of strong AT early on. And that's where the 251 flamethrower comes. And that's just not happening right now. The guards actually cover that up even. So, I mean, it's a solid strat that they're using right here.
Aimstrong is choosing, instead of going for the half-track flamer, he is instead going for Panzer Grenadiers.
You know what? I thought about it a lot. I don't think it's because we know Sepha is going to put the guards in the 251, or sorry, the M3, and that's just it's too much of a dice roll with that 222 up gun. I don't know. I don't think that's a good decision on his part.
Well, time to see how it's going to play out. You say it's going to go too sour for him, and I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to agree with you, but let's see what happens.
Well, if he gets the back of it, this might be good.
He does good damage there, but the guards do bail out. Don't take any casualties there. Are they going to be able to get off a couple more hits? No, it looks like the 222 is going to be able to back out of there fairly safely.
So you want to be careful, because a lot of the weapons in the game actually have faster rate of fires as you close distance. So in that case, Aimstrong would have been, or Sepha would have been better off actually staying back and trying to max range of 222, whereas the 222 would have been better off getting closer, as it would have fired faster.
Ah, interesting. Okay. But would not wouldn't the PTRSs also fire faster?
They do, but they don't do as much DPS, right? So you want whoever has the best close range DPS is who you want to get closer.
Well, that would probably explain why whenever we see 222s rush right up point blank range with the M3s just seem to melt.
Yeah,
they die really quick.
They do about the same DPS point blank, but the 222 can hit the null spots, right? They can get behind, and that rear MG doesn't do as much damage as the front MG on that M3A1.
Right. Looks like the Soviets are putting in the hurt once again. I mean, just look at the map here. Aimstrong has been cut off by that very, very brutal cutoff just outside his base here. I do love that cutoff, but I'm sure he hates it right now. It's been his bane all game with the conscripts harassing it. Meanwhile, he has lost both fuels. He is capping one of them in the south, but he's still not going to be able to connect it, so he's going to be left at a bit of a fuel deficit, and is choosing, instead of teching, he's going to keep on building those Panzer Grenadiers. He's got a second squad on the way.
You know, I'd say on this map, either the Cloud9 Firma versions, you're best as that East player to hit the top up. It's a lot easier to defend, and it's a lot harder to get cut off. And if you do decide to go for the bottom, I think you got to do it when you're ahead, not when the game's even.
Some more Panzer Grenadiers coming out, but now look at this. You got these 6-man MG42s and no sniper from Aimstrong, no mortar, no really easy way of clearing it out. Good usage of that MG42 could spell disaster for Aimstrong when he tries to break out with Panzer Grenadiers.
Yeah. You know, another thing too is one thing that Aimstrong might do is trying to upgrade some LMGs and put them in the buildings, because the LMGs do their full damage potential when they're in the buildings. They don't have to worry about the prone position, and to the M3 it can actually do quite a bit of damage. And because there's guards that are not flamethrowers in those M3s, it could give an opportunity to take them down low enough to finish them off with a 222.
Right, okay, so the MG42 does still have its place. Oh god, these Panzer Grenadiers, oh no, they're surely gonna die. Yeah, down they go. There goes another Grenadier. It looks like Aimstrong is choosing to replace his, wow, that was a nice bundle. Choosing to replace his regular Grenadiers with Panzer Grenadiers. So he is going to be he's up to 3 PGs now and 2 regular Grens, but no MGs. He lost his 1 MG and that was it.
You know, as I pointed out earlier, again, I think this is a strategical mistake on Aimstrong's part. If Sepha decides to go snipers, he's going to out-attrition him fast and quick. And I think that he would have been better off just sticking with his regular Grens and utilizing their cost efficiency.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because he's now facing this hit the dirt, so how else could he counter hit the dirt if not with grenadiers and
most
bundles?
efficient counter to hit the dirt is rifle grenades.
Rifle grenades, okay.
Yep. Your bundle grenade is overkill. It's never going to deal enough damage to justify its cost. At 20 munitions per pop, let's say you kill two entities with your rifle grenade, you've reached cost. You have to kill 3.5, 4 entities with your bundle grenade, which is very difficult to do. And a lot of scenarios where you would get those 3 or 4 kills, you'd get similar kills with your rifle grenade.
Okay, I mean, well, we have seen some awesome bundles. Like, I think it was the other day, maybe on the Friday, we saw a double bundle on a hit the dirt conscript, and it actually destroyed the entire squad. I mean, everything just exploded. But that's, you know, that's a rare sort of investment. That's
a 90 munitions investment, so keep that in mind.
Enemy contact! It's
I mean, if I was spending 90 munitions, I expect anything to blow up, whether it's hit the dirt or not.
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, at 90 munitions, you're only just shy of the Flammenwerfer, in which case you may as well just get one of those.
Again, and it's just another scenario where you would have been better off saving up 30 munitions, getting the 251. It's so cheap, and it's a super good effective counter versus hit the dirt.
Here is hit the dirt being used once again at point blank range in green cover against these PGs. Looks like it's actually a roughly even battle, but the PGs they're gonna blink first. They retreat.
Yeah, one of the issues right now with hit the dirt is it provides a received accuracy modifier, and unfortunately that received accuracy modifier can actually stack with other modifiers such as cover. So if you hit the dirt in green cover, you are getting extremely effective defensive unit.
Right. And that's what we've been seeing in the last couple of days. Particularly yesterday was the real hit the dirt day. Almost every single game we saw a Soviet player use a doctrine that gave him access to hit the dirt, and they were just Soviet conscripts lying on the floor all over the place. It was like a Soviet holiday home. They were all just chilling out on the floor, but they were all getting those strong stacked cover buffs, and they were making the most of them.
Right. Here's another little tip for hit the dirt. One of its strongest features, so you get the received damage modifier, which is obviously extremely beneficial. But what you also get is better squad plans. You're not moving. You're not reacting to flamethrowers. You're not reacting to the PTRSs or tank shells. So you have basically your max DPS output. Whereas the typical squad plan would actually cause you to move and stop firing and do animations and so forth. So when you hit the dirt, you're actually increasing your DPS as well. It's one of these hidden effects that is not really explained unless you know the mechanics of the game.
Right, so doubly effective, you're not moving around, and yeah, I mean, you can see here those hit the dirt conscripts, they were very stationary, and please don't do that, Aimstrong, please don't blow yourself up with your own bundle grenades, that's just painful.
Oh, I hate that. That's a squad plan thing. You're moving forward, you throw the grenade, a couple entities still go, but the guy throwing the grenade doesn't, and
yeah, it was a bit of a micro trick actually that you saw in Vico. People would intentionally do that because you didn't take friendly fire from your own grenades, so you could make it seem as if you were still running forward when actually one guy would hang back and chuck the grenade. But obviously here that trick doesn't really work because you end up eating quite a bit of your own grenade.
Yeah, for sure. I've had that happen to me a couple times. It sucks. It does. So try and avoid that.
It's definitely a cringe moment. Well, what are the statistics actually regarding friendly fire? Is it still 100% damage, or 100%. Is it slightly nerfed? Okay, 100% damage. 100%. So you really got to watch out for that stuff.
This is war. This is war. There's no friendly fire. There's no friendly fire modifiers in real life.
I guess that's true.
Yep. If an artillery company misfired, they misfired. So make sure you're tactical and you're aware of what you're doing.
And that's doubly important in 2v2s and bigger team games, because obviously you've got
loads
of artillery firing all over the place, and you're sort of thinking, geez, you know, guys, and actually that's what Code 2 does quite nicely. You actually get a little warning when your teammate is firing artillery, so you're never totally blind as to whether your guys are about to blow up, courtesy of your teammate.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of 2v2s internally lately, and that's definitely something that comes up a lot. Piero is actually my 2v2 partner, and I give him a hard time all the time. He's always, I'm moving into a section, making a huge advance on my units, and then he tells me afterwards, well, no, there's a bunch of artillery going in there. I'm like, well, yeah, you could have told me like 5 minutes, earlier.
Dear, classic 2v2 communication breakdown. Not an uncommon sight.
Yeah. So the tip of the day is communicate to your 2v2 partner, use pings, let them know where you're firing. Create a ping scheme. 2 pings equals artillery.
Oh, big bundle grenade, but it did nothing there, and I think that's a good example
Not
of where...
cost-effective.
Yeah, exactly, it's not cost effective. It forced a retreat, but besides that, it didn't really do a lot, and then, you know, they're just replaced with yet another squad, and this time it's the P-Grants who have to
Right
retreat.
here. Bundle grenade right there would take out 3 to 4 entities, and it would probably force a retreat. So, I mean, I don't think anyone in the community would say for 20 munitions forcing a retreat is a bad bad investment. That's a great investment, and you're taking 4 guys out or 3 guys out. Rifle grenade's the way to go.
More conscripts. There seems to be an awful lot of conscripts from Sepha. He's just pumping them out. They're running up and they're hitting dirt, and with those PPSHs and hit the dirt, they can tango with even some fairly high vet P-Grants.
All right, so this is interesting. I see Sepha's going for Katyusha. Aimstrong is going for P4. This could be an opportunity for Aimstrong to catch up a little bit.
P4, yeah. Well, P4 against Katyusha. No prizes for guessing who's going to win that engagement. And there's no other real AT. There are guards, obviously, but they don't really cut it. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sepha thought he totally fuel-starved Aimstrong, but actually he is going to be able to squeeze this tank out.
And Aimstrong still doesn't select his doctrines. That's another interesting point. He's not taking advantage of everything the game has to offer him. So another strategical mistake on his part.
Here comes the P4. I think he's going to give this M3 a very nasty shock. And whoa, it's one hit and it's down. Sepha got a nasty shock right there. He's going to be forced to deal with this P4 now, just after he bought the Katyusha as well.
Yeah, so the way that, for those who are a little bit newer to COH, is if you take something down to 0 health, you have a 55% chance to kill it on that shot. The other 45% is a mix of other criticals, with 20% of that being out of control, so I guess it's really like a 75 or 65% chance to knock it out completely.
Right.
So in this case, it has 160 damage on that P4, the thing has 160 health, and he just happened to get that one shot, one kill.
Gonna have some 18-8s going in on this P4. There we go, damage engine.
And there's
here
the
comes the
barrage.
Katyusha. Yeah. Seems to be hitting just about everything except the P4.
Yeah, those rockets aren't very effective against the P4's armor.
More of an anti-infantry weapon.
Definitely more of an anti-infantry weapon, yeah.
Katyushas aren't something that we've seen in, well, any of the tournament games that we've shoutcasted so far, and just generally speaking, in 1v1s, you don't see them a whole lot. I mean, just generally artillery, you know, if it can't directly engage, if it can't soak up firepower, it's generally seen as wasted pop in 1v1s. But in your test games, in your balanced internal games, have you experimented with Katyushas as a sort of a regular build?
Yeah, definitely. I would never build a Katyusha before I got my 85, but you know, you're definitely going to see them, especially when you have a high concentration of entry. Depends on how the other player plays. When I watched the last game, if I kept seeing Aimstrong kept grouping his guys together, and if I saw that and I was Soviet, I would have bought a Katyusha. There'd been a huge return on that.
Right.
This game is pretty spread out, so I don't know. I don't really see any behavior that would say to me, "Hey, build a Katyusha, take advantage of it."
Yeah, there's sort of units everywhere, fighting up in the north, fighting in the south, people rolling around in the middle. It's but it is Aimstrong who is taking the brunt of the VP pressure right now. He is down to 150 VPs with a triple cap. So right now, it's looking like Sepha has the pretty definitive upper hand so far in this series, which has gone 1-1 to Sepha
and there's
and
85. So
okay.
Yeah, you know what?
85.
If you see the Katyusha and you're Germans, build a 222. If you need to, upgun it and just send it back. It's such a cheap investment, and typically you'll pay off.
I've seen those 222s really rip apart a Katyusha, yeah. So.
Oh, he didn't have enough munitions for the Foss. That'd have been a good opportunity to Foss, and that P4 was right there. If you Foss an 85 and you don't think there's support on it, you could definitely win that engagement with a P4.
Let's see if we have a use of a rifle grenade here. It's a perfect opportunity, but not taken. The P4 is here to deal with those hit the dirt conscripts. Finally, we're actually going to see the VPs reversed here. If Aimstrong can just stick around long enough to get the cap, he's going to be able to bring Ps back under his control and finally take down Sepha from his dominating position of 477 VPs.
All right, here we go. We got the PAC 43. or the Pack 40 rather. We got the P4 moving up against the guards and the 85 up top. That likely might be a very definitive battle right there.
Oh boy, it got buttoned, but it did manage to break out of it. Grenade goes in on the Pack. The Pack is decrewed. It could be stolen here by conscripts. Here comes the SU-85. It just needs to get around this corner and it can start plugging away. But here come a couple of P-Grens. These guys might be able to do some good damage. They clear the Pack almost instantly. Conscripts are down to just one man now. They're forced to retreat. P-Grens are here to mop up, but that P4 is taking an awful lot of firepower.
Oh yeah, look at that. He just used the line of sight system right there to block out that 85. Will he get behind? I don't know. Let's find out.
He's gonna have a tough time.
I
He just
think
needs
he
to
might
turn
get
that
this.
Pack. Oh, he takes one other hit. He can't afford to take any more hits from that 85.
Well, he could. Yeah, it's pretty even.
Both tanks lost. Who do you think came out on top there?
Well, it looked like Aimstrong came out on top, in my opinion.
He did do a lot of manpower damage as well as the tanks, so yeah, he came up pretty well. He's actually, wow, he's got so many P-Grens. He's got 4 PG squads and 2 regular Grenadiers. It's a very heavy infantry army.
I'm just wondering why Sepha's not seeing that and building snipers, because snipers would be such a strong counter right now.
Yeah,
And
snipers against
don't
these PGs, 45 manpower at a time. It's just, oh.
Yeah. And there's the added advantage that the snipers aren't affected by winter, and this is a winter map, so there's more value on that sniper right now.
There's a nice rifle grenade. Kills one of the machine gun crew. And it's a wave of Grenadiers down here in the south as they sweep in to try and grab these VPs, to try and prevent Aimstrong from slipping below 100. That's when the pressure is really going to mount, and that's when the panic begins to set in, is when you slip below that magic 100.
Alright, so Aimstrong's sitting on 120 fuel. I'm wondering what he's going to decide to build next.
I guess, probably, given that he's got T3 up, I would guess a P4 multi-purpose would probably be his best bet right now. I can't imagine an Oswind be much good for him. And a Stug, well, he kind of needs the anti-infantry firepower, really, because he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, you know, that said, I might actually go for the Oswind. I might go for the Oswind and just outmaneuver the 85. Keep it on the move, head up, take the infantry out, and gain map control that way. Because at this point, purchasing armor to fight armor against 85 is not going to be a good idea. You're going to want to try and use your armor for other reasons and focus on other things. If I build all infantry, how valuable is that 85? If there's no tanks to take out, it's not that valuable.
That's true. These PGs are really ripping these cards a new one. Finally, Aimstrong has found a target that he can actually take on quite handily with these PGs. He did chuck a bundle nade on the conscripts. He didn't do too much, but he's going to force a retreat there anyway.
And again, we see that bottom just cut off for Aimstrong. It's so hard to hold that bottom. That cutoff on that east side is so strong.
It's a brutal cutoff. I mean, I love it. I love brutal cutoffs, but it is a very, very tough one to keep hold of, especially as the opposite cutoff isn't even nearly so accessible.
No.
So
it's all about flow. If you look at the amount of points of contact to that one cutoff versus the west side's cutoff, the flow's not there. There's just so much more going to that one point.
yeah, it's a real focal point because it's surrounded by all these roads, and you've got the VP right next to it as well. So it's always going to be a big point. We have our first Vet 3 unit has hit the field from Sepha.
With hit the dirt.
Yep, with hit the dirt. Those guys, Vet 3 plus hit the dirt plus cover, like green cover. I mean, Jesus, that's going to be next to impossible to kill.
I still think I think Aimstrong could win this if he Oswind harassed and controlled the points. I think he can honestly win it.
Well, he's in quite a dominating position right now. I mean, look at the map. I thought he was in a bit of a rough position up until about a minute ago, and then suddenly it's switched.
Yep. And if you look at Sepha's composition right now, it's all infantry. And you know, for the viewers out there, there's a big difference between the P4 and Oswind. And when you're making the decision, know that the Oswind is significantly better at AI. It's significantly better. We have simulators internally that let us run 1,000 battles, and we find out how much more efficient it is. And I can tell you right now, it's significantly more efficient than the P4 technology.
Well, Aimstrong did opt to go for the P4. He wants to try and play it safe, I guess, given this is a tournament game. He doesn't want to take any risks by getting an Oswind and then maybe get surprised with a T-34 or something like that.
Yeah, T-34 would be a good move if he did that.
So he's hit the dirt conscripts there back into the middle, capping up the munitions, but even so, Sepha has a lot of territory to try and take back after losing almost sort of 80-90% of the map to Aimstrong's PG army. He is whittling down the number of grenadiers that Aimstrong has, but the PG army is sizable.
Wow, look at that vet to Maxim. So he's going to lose that P4 now, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to be able to survive this 85.
Oh yeah, no, when that 85 comes rolling through,
yeah,
it's going to come busting through. And
hey, I haven't seen that.
Hell.
Have you seen his Katyusha? Have you seen Sepha using his Katyusha very much?
He did just recently use it on a couple of PG squads down near the south, in the near the munitions point in the middle. And there it goes. P4 is down. There, Aimstrong is choosing to replace the P4 directly. What do you make of that?
No, I don't like. I think he's. I understand. It's one of these things. It didn't work the first 2 times. It's not going to work the 3rd time.
Isn't that a definition of insanity? If you to keep on repeating something, expecting a different outcome.
You know, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's one of the 15 things on that checklist for insanity. I think there's a couple other personality disorders that fall under that category of repetition.
Aimstrong, you are 1/15th insane. I'm sorry to tell you this, man. But you keep on building P4s and they keep on dying. But Sepha is, it's a very sort of back and forth map here. After Aimstrong took virtually the entire map, Sepha is breaking back. He's killed the P4. He has his Su-85 now in a good position to take on any future P4s.
And that Katyusha's paying off for Sepha. He just took out 2 of his P-Gren squads. He was at 4, now he's at 2.
Well, it's going pretty decently for him. He's got 6 kills total, 6 infantry down to that Katyusha.
Yeah, and a lot of that was just damage dealt. It wasn't completely taking a squad out, but it weakened them, so when something else came up, it was just like butter through.
Whoa, a couple of nice kills there on this Pioneer squad. He could even finish it off. He's going to force a retreat there.
Yeah, he probably will.
Oh, homing rocket didn't quite take him on retreat there. Retreat modifiers just about saved him.
Yeah, when you're firing the Katyusha, keep in mind that the weapon shoots slightly ahead of itself, so you want to actually compensate for that when you're actually firing it.
Okay, so you want to aim slightly in front of what you're actually shooting?
You want to slightly behind, so towards the Katyusha. Because it shoots,
right,
it shoots ahead of itself.
Yeah. A lot of brutal fighting has happened around this fuel point. Oh, green cover versus green cover, but I think hit the dirt. Yeah, the green cover plus hit the dirt. That's got to give him the edge.
You know, one thing that I'm seeing really hurt Aimstrong right now is he keeps getting AT grenaded. He's got to utilize the fact that he got 40 range on that main gun, and that rifle grenade is only, that AT grenade is only 15 range. But he keeps getting close enough to allow Sepha to get that shot off.
Yeah, and that keeps on making him have this just, 5% damage, which he then has to spend time to repair because he's only got a single Pioneer. So yeah, it's got to be an annoyance for him. It's got to be grating.
Yeah, look at that Katyusha's in denial right now, just forcing him to retreat or take damage every time.
Considering he built it as his first unit out of Tier 4, it's, I thought that was going to be a bit of a disaster, honestly, but actually, it's paid off. It hasn't really been in danger at any point. It's been kept to a nice, safe range in the backfield.
Well, Aimstrong probably thought, okay, maybe he had some other AT backing it up, so he didn't want to go in and rush it out. And I totally understand that. It's a tough call. You're in a tournament. You don't want to take any big risks. But, yeah, it's definitely paying off for Sepha at this point.
Oh, we had a huge bundle nade over here by the bottom BP. MG42 was taken down to 3 men.
We got a good bundle nade opportunity up the top. See if Aimstrong takes it.
It's 3v3, 3v2, getting close. Hit the
Look
dirt
at
versus
that.
PGs. The PGs are actually winning. They got Vet 2, and here comes some support as
Vet 2
well.
will do it.
He could even, might even be able to finish him off. He does finish him off, so there's the first squad lost for quite some time. It's a conscript going down for Sepha. A small win, but a win nonetheless.
We got another script squad up there. This is turning out to be a fairly close game. I don't think by any measure Aimstrong's out of it yet.
No, I mean the VPs and the map control and the unit compositions tell, all three of those things tell very different stories. I mean, you know, if you look at the VPs, you've got Aimstrong sitting on 83, so he is definitely under VP pressure. But if you look at the map right now, Aimstrong has definitely had the lion's share of the resources and good control of the cutoffs as well over the last few minutes. So, and you know, he's still got all of his PGs. He's got some good veterancy. 2 of those PGs are Vet 2. He's got a Grenadier who is Vet 3. He's humping a PTRS rifle as well, and he is building himself up a small armored armada. But for now, it's still just a single P4.
Yeah, if I was Sepha right now, I might even be thinking about building that howitzer. It'd be pretty good to lay down some long-range artillery when he forces the retreat with Kyusha. You get 1 or 2 squads to retreat, you howitzer their base, you double up the damage.
That would be that'd be a pretty sick combo. People used to do that with infantry company back in Vico. You'd throw down some off-map artillery on your opponent's forward units. Once they retreated, send the on-map artillery into their base. And God, sometimes you could get some brutal hits off.
Yeah, my favorite's when you could time the V1.
Oh
the
yes,
V1
the prop
right
war in V1. Oh yes. Oh, just so satisfying. There's a GIF someone made out there of a V1 hitting a Brit base just after the most perfect prop war in the world. It's beautiful. It just makes you feel good.
All right, so we got the winter set in right now. Might be a good time to be aggressive. It might not. I think as we'll see what happens.
Well, Sepha now has got 2 Su-85s, so he does have quite good anti-tank firepower, although Aimstrong is choosing to get a second P4. You don't approve of that.
Don't approve of that. He's not going to win. Like it's like me picking rock and you picking paper and me buying another rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you already have 2 papers. You know, in a game of rock paper scissors, he's definitely, you know, he's going to have again an uphill battle.
I mean, he does have that one pack, which he's sort of relying on to cover him as while he has these P4s, I guess. But I don't know. I think he might be almost going off, because we did a shoutcast with him the other day. He was playing on this map as Soviets, and he had his IS-2 get totally ganked by Panzer IVs. So I think he came out of that game thinking, oh, Panzer IVs they're actually pretty good against other tanks, so I'll use some of those. But I think he might have been slightly misled.
Yeah, a little bit. I think there's just a chance of good rolls on those P4s.
Nice bundle. Whoa, lovely bundle on a
Very
Vet 3
nice bundle,
squad
very
as
nice.
well.
Oh, and it's an MG42. That makes it even
Yeah,
stronger.
that's pretty sickening.
So we're finally seeing the snipers on Sepha's part. So I think that's a good move. High value units against high value units should be very punishing if you keep them at range.
Given the fairly late stage of the game and the fact that Sepha has, you know, a very combined arms force, what is the best way to counter Soviet snipers at this point?
Artillery.
Artillery, really?
Yeah.
What kind of artillery? Like Panzer
Well, you got your
Panzerwerfers,
Panzerwerfer, and you got your howitzer, and you got your mortar. The mortar obviously not being a very good late game unit, but your howitzer and your Panzerwerfer being viable options.
Would you even consider trying the counter snipe?
It's difficult. Like I said, there are very, very specific conditions where you could effectively counter snipe his sniper. And even though on paper you might have, you might have that opportunity to use green cover, I don't think it's realistic in a competitive game like that. It's too high risk. I would never try to counter snipe. They're not meant to do that.
Oh boy. You know, you were talking about that rock, paper, scissors analogy, and now this is the paper wrapped around the rock. We just saw both P4s go down with relative ease. These Su-85s took virtually no damage there. They just went in, they found a good opportunity, took out both those P4s. Aimstrong could do very little. That's a beautiful bundle nade! What a bundle nade! He just killed...
Nice bundle nade.
Oh my god! He just killed
Vet
Vet
2?
3 off of that bundle nade with 40 infantry kills on that Panzer Grenadier. What a bundle nade. That just killed something
Very
like
nice.
8 or 9 conscripts in one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know, one thing else, well, maybe I'll talk about it a little after the cast, but I'll talk about kind of how tank valuation works and something that you guys should start to consider as you play. Might be a little too much in depth for this actual cast. We're focusing on the match.
Okay. But we'll definitely get that out of you before we finish the cast tonight.
I don't know. I feel like Aimstrong is starting. His morale. You know, that's one of the things about this game. Is actually
it's very psychological. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wearing on their morale, and I feel like he had a little victory there, but those two P4s. If I was him right now, I'd feel very crushed.
I think just, that first game really shook him up. He is not used to losing, and he is not used to losing in 15 minutes either. So, that early loss really sort of, because I was talking to him before the game, and I know that he wasn't too experienced in fighting proper sort of scout car, cheesy tactics like that of just constant scout cars. And I know he was feeling just a little apprehensive about going in to a game against Sepha, who's going to be using that strategy. And, I mean, even though it wasn't so much the scout cars, it's really, this game has been more decided in the mid game, and even then, I say decided, the game is still far from over. Aimstrong is probably in a dominating position right now, but he's got those VPs that are just ticking down.
Yeah, he's not using his doctrines either, and I think that,
yeah, he's sitting on 10 CPs now.
Right now. A good pack 43 could go a long way. Well, one of my favorite units, if you got the P4 command tank, really good versus infantry.
Yes, that P4 command tank, we have seen it used to very good effect. He has now actually chosen, it's an interesting unit, he's gone for a Stug, but in my experience, that tends to lose out pretty badly to an ISU.
Yeah, it's one shot different, so it depends. Stug can actually be really good counters to 85, especially if you use the vet on the Stug. But for cost, in terms of cost effective, the Stug and the 85 aren't cost effective counters to one another.
They're sort of two long-range tank destroyers. It's like fighting your rock with rock. I mean, one of you is going to win, but...
Well, yeah, but in terms of anti-tank capacity, like value, the 85 has more, so it's going to win that battle. And if it doesn't win that battle, you got really unlucky.
Whoa, lovely bundle nade, and we see another Vet 3 P-Gran after a beautiful bundle nade. So now three Vet 3 units for Aimstrong now. 2 Grenadiers, 1 Grenadier and 2 Panzer Grenadiers.
Yeah, those Vet 3s are going to prove invaluable for this game.
Maybe it's time to get some Panzer Shreks?
Panzer Shrek would be a great counter right now, but he doesn't have the munitions, and this is not a munitions map. Only one munition point.
Yeah, that's something he's really suffering for, and when he does get the munitions, he's using it up on bundle nades.
Yep. And again, like I said, those one-offs, I mean, they're great. When you need them in the clinch, it can win you that engagement. Keep in mind, though, long-term, every time you use a one-off, you're hurting yourself.
Very true. Very true. So we got this Stug down here in the south. Don't know what he's going to try and do against a Vet 3 conscript. Not a lot, I should imagine. But Aimstrong is putting on the triple cap on Sepha once again. Pretty soon Sepha is going to be the one who's dipping below 200 VPs, and he is going to be the one that's going to be feeling the turn of the screw.
Yeah, it's very true. He has been controlling the VPs pretty well. Yeah, here's a great example. I mean, like if he built a howitzer, he'd be able to take that Katyusha out pretty much one shot, one kill. He should be able to take it out.
I think these 1v1 players, they're so ingrained into a 1v1 Vico style, where artillery was such a kind of
Calm stomp.
Yeah, it was.
Tactic.
Yeah, exactly. It was seen as I can't. The word evades me, but it's sort of they wouldn't do it. It was sort of seen as bad or whatever. And that said, people would use infantry company howitzers plenty, and people would use the odd Nebel. But generally speaking, that was sort of reserved for sort of the really long, campy games. And this is sort of been fairly fluid the whole time. That said, there has been quite a lot of clumping up, and as you pointed out, one good artillery shell around these ISUs and Katyushas, pretty sick.
You bring up some good points, but I'll point out some good scenarios that actually add value to the howitzer. It's a psychology. I've never seen Sepha go to this Aimstrong's base at any point in this game. But if you had a howitzer in there, you could start to force movement. You start to force him to come to you, and that's when you start using psychology to your advantage. You put some mines in there, you put some AT traps, and you start taking advantage. The howitzer's value isn't just in the unit; it's in what it makes the player do, and that's what you have to think of as a true tactician.
Exactly, and that's what you see, especially with like snipers. You know, people get sniper blindness and VP blindness. You know.
One vet 3. Oh, I think he's down to one guy.
Yes, he was down to one guy. He managed to almost kill the Soviet sniper.
No, he lost one up top. No, he lost one up top. He lost the vet 3.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, he clumped his guys together. It was perfect opportunity for that Katyusha. I think at this point, you got 385s on the field. I don't think his Stug or his P4 is going to do anything to help.
It's still a very tough game to call, though. I mean, Aimstrong, he has got incredible tenacity to stay in this game, long after a lot of players, I think, would have left. I mean, he's been fighting with a relatively two-dimensional army, sort of like mainly built up of Panzer Grenadiers with the occasional tank which gets killed the moment it comes out. So it's a very tough position to be in.
Well, here's the thing. Like, look at his 85. Apart from taking out the P4s, they have no role in this battle. I mean, he's tried to use it to fight infantry, and he might get off the lucky shot here and there. But for the most part, if Aimstrong were just to stick with infantry, he wouldn't have to worry about the 85s as an actual threat. They'd be more of a sideline unit.
Well, pretty soon they're going to have something to shoot at again because a P4 just hit the field. Another one.
And we got the Stug in there, too. We got 2 snipers.
Oh, look at this. It's the triple SU little train moving down the middle here. Oh, they're all going to fight the Stug. They're going to walk right into him in the middle of the snow. Look at that. 3 shots and the Stug is toast.
You know, one thing I don't see anyone using... Oh, wow, look at that AT gun gone. But the crew shock on that AT gun, it's a 10-second stun. It's not something to sneeze at. It gives you a chance to get 3 shots off.
It's 68 VPs for Aimstrong. He is now the one under pressure. I don't know how long he can last in this, but I don't know. Still a very difficult one to call.
Well, as long as he doesn't send that P4 in, which I think he is going to do, I think he'll be okay.
These double snipers now, though, he's got to contend with. He's got to find a way to counter them. And I don't know if he has the manpower to do it. I mean, he's sitting on a little bank of manpower at the moment. He does need to build something else. No fuel, though.
Yeah, at this point in the battle, I wouldn't even consider armor as an option. Unless you're playing against someone that you know is going to drop the ball. I don't see you ever having that opportunity to come out. I mean, maybe an elephant. If you could pull out an elephant, I'd pull it out. Otherwise, I would just go straight infantry and try and attrition this out.
That is actually what he is doing. He is getting himself another PG squad.
Oh, look at this. Going into that boss.
Oh boy, these SUs, they're coming forward. They smell blood.
He finally got a Panzerschreck. That's an interesting counter.
And there it goes. P4 goes down. He does finally have some Panzerschreck, so maybe we'll see some good use of these. They are a Vet 3 squad, but Vet 3 unfortunately doesn't do very much for him when he's fighting double snipers.
Well, it does make his Shreks more accurate, so he'll miss them less frequently.
All the snipers are caught out. They are going to be forced to retreat, so they've got these Panzer Grenadiers. They've got a few minutes. Way, and we do have one of the Su-85s goes down.
Nice.
So it's an eye for an eye here. P4 for an Su-85. Oh, that's a nice grenade. Didn't really do anything though. I thought that was going to kill a load of PGs.
Yeah, he seemed to dodge it. Oh, that would be a perfect grenade right there. Look at that. You could take out that whole squad. And he tries to go for it.
Just kicked in.
That Vet 285, man, that's going to be a tough one versus armor. It's getting that 78% increase in damage at this point. So it's really going to lay the hurt down.
Yeah, that's one tough.
Oh, we got a Pioneer squad on the top on Aimstrong, but go down. See if he notices it. Yeah, he gets it out. Again, look at this. Same behavior I'm seeing from Sepha. He's grouping up all his units, making himself very vulnerable to on-map artillery.
Yeah, lots of... yeah, I mean, artillery would
21 kills on that Katyusha.
That thing has really paid for itself. I mean, you know, it's just at the beginning of Vet 2 as well. So it's got even more weapon damage. Does that make it at all useful against the likes of P4s, or is it still just lacking the penetration?
It's lacking the penetration. You're gonna do more damage when you do penetrate, but
Right.
overall, it's not a good investment of the barrage. You're best off aiming at the softer targets. Aimstrong just did a good rifle grenade to go to mine up top. Yeah, those snipers are gonna out attrition him fast.
Yeah, he has no counter to them. He's purely got an army now of PGs, 1 Gren, and 1 Pioneer. So he's really got quite a simple army, really. And just simply throwing PGs into the mix is only gonna end in tears for him.
Yeah, this is not good. Like I said, if he had invested, teched up, got the Panzerwerfer, he might have been able to inflict some pretty strong damage early on. Howitzer would have been similar. You wouldn't have had the tech up.
He's got loads of conscripts just all over the place, joined with guards, joined with snipers. It's just, Seph has a far more diverse army right now.
I'm still surprised he hasn't picked a Doctrine. I find that, you know...
Yeah, he's sitting on 10 CPs. I mean, Jesus, he could just pick the thing that has the biggest tank at the end right now and just... Oh no, another PG went down on retreat there as well.
Oh, look at that grenade. Well played. I think this game's pretty much wrapped up at this point.
Yeah, I think Aimstrong has just slipped away. His last chance of being able to squeeze out a victory from this one is
I want to see these
leaving him.
snipers. Let's see how many kills they have right now.
Those Soviet snipers, we will find out in just a second when they retreat. Here comes another Katyusha barrage. It actually destroys the building that the MG42 is in. So luckily, the Soviet MG42, so luckily they got out just in time, although half the crew did die. And the Pioneers bite the dust. They take a heck of a beating right there. Down to 32 VPs now with Aimstrong, and he's still bleeding. It's not a good position to be in.
So those snipers were able to rack up about 1,040 manpower and attrition between the both of them.
They easily made their cost back then. Let's see, yeah, we got 5 kills and 19 kills. Beautiful stuff. Here comes the 3 Su-85s into the north. They have nothing really to shoot at anymore. These Su-85s are pretty much redundant. But I guess you can just use them for spotting. I mean, they've got great line of sight.
Sure. I mean, how many players are going to pay 115 fuel and 280 manpower for a spotting unit?
Oh yeah, but you know, while you've got them, you may as well use them for something, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying in the day, like, if you do see that start to stockpile and you know that you can't get... He has a critical mass at this point. He has a critical mass of anti-tank. Bringing tank on the field isn't going to work. Any type of armor is just such high risk.
Here come Aimstrong Shreks, point blank range, maybe an opportunity.
Snipers back up.
Oh yeah, what? Oh boy, yeah, the PGs went down to 2 men almost instantly.
So you can hide behind that building potentially, that last shot off. But I'd be careful.
He threw a long bundle nade, but it hit nothing. Hit air. He's actually, if these snipers turn around and fire, if they hit...
Yeah, this is not looking good.
They're going to get out of there. But even so now, down to 26 VPs. Aimstrong getting very low now.
He's getting desperate. This is it. He's going to lose these guys right here. Oh, he realized it.
Aimstrong just doesn't have enough infantry right now. And bizarrely, he is choosing to get himself an Oswind.
Well, it's about time, I suppose.
I guess. I mean, I think it's going to come on the field. I think it's going to get 3-hitted by this Su-85 train, and then I think it's going to be game over. If it even makes it that far. I mean, we're already down to 18, and he's bleeding fast.
Yeah. If he could keep it at range, he could have done a lot of damage to his infantry. Just use it very defensively, backing up that pack where the Panzer Grenadiers. It would have been a really good tool for him.
So let's see, Aimstrong, he's just got maybe half a minute left, and maybe a minute. He's got to try and get one of the VPs
Oh,
back.
he doesn't see them. He doesn't see them. He's going to get grenaded.
Well, at least the Oswind chose to go somewhere where the Su-85s are not. So he's not going to get instantly killed.
Out.
But, oh, there's an MG42 just waiting for him.
Look at the AI of that. It's just taking these things out like a knife through hot butter.
Yeah, wow, those Vetri guards, actually, they're in danger of going down. Doesn't really matter, as we are at 4 VPs, but...
No, it doesn't. But it just goes to show you, he could have had... Look, he already got 8 kills and it just came on the field. Don't underestimate that unit.
Yeah, that thing is really tearing Seph's MGs in U1, and... Whoa! Actually, Aimstrong's managed to stall the VP counter at 1 VP. He has a single VP left, and actually... Seph, in his desperation to end this game, he sent snipers over to try and decap over here on the right-hand side. There's a one-man Vet 3 Greta, but he's only got a PTRS.
That's not going to do anything at this point.
Oh, no, and that's going to be game
that's
right
game.
there. Oh, very, very nice. Extremely well played there by by both players, really. I mean, considering that we've seen so many very quick Soviet victories, for Aimstrong to be able to drag out a game for 53 minutes and come so close to winning as well. I mean, it just felt like so close yet so far.
Yeah, I really wish he had brought that Osman on a little earlier. I think that could have changed his fate a little bit. Try to ignore his 85s as much as possible, but either way, it was a good German versus Soviet battle.
Yeah, it was a great fight. Aimstrong put up a fantastic battle there, but he did eventually concede, which means Sepha advances 2-1 in this best-of-5 finals. Remember, guys, they are playing for $1,000. Second prize is only $200, so they are playing for a fair amount of cash here, but it's not all over yet. Aimstrong still has a couple of games to come back into this. We are going to go into a 4th game very shortly, but we're just going to take a very quick break while we switch over to those replays. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute with game 4.